This video is sponsored by Sundance Now.
Director Fury, I have some news. I believe certain members of the universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the one we inhabit, so I would even call it that, just the universe. I believe certain characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and by characters, of course, I don't mean the fake characters in a movie or something. I mean characters welcome, like funny guys. I believe 7 characters are currently, or have been, or maybe should be, in some sort of, secret invasion kind of thing. I believe 7 characters are Skrulls. I'm going to share this information with you, but before I get to it, I do want to say one thing, Director Fury. And by the way, I love what you're doing with the beard and the scars. Looks very cool. I can't deny that it looks incredibly cool. Director Fury, I have to say this. I no longer believe James Rhodes, aka War Machine, is a Skrull. I know. I was the #1 proponent of that theory, and I stand by everything I said at the time. However, 2 things from the events of Avengers Endgame have swayed my opinion. First of all, there's the moment where he was about to die, when he was trapped, and he was holding hands with Rocket Raccoon, basically like, sorry, we're both dead. And he didn't at that point turn into a Skrull and attempt to survive, which I'm not sure exactly how the Skrull work, but that seems like the time when you go, alright, hey, I'm a Skrull, I'm gonna wriggle out of here and survive this, because it's important to do that. No, I'm not saying Skrulls could survive something like that. I'm just saying that if he was a Skrull, maybe he would have attempted to flee in that situation by shapeshifting or something. Second, and more importantly, Rhodey was one of 3 characters, and by characters, again, I mean like characters welcome. Rhodey was one of 3 people present for Tony Stark's death. Rhodey, his wife, did they get married? Yeah, they were married. His wife, Pepper Potts, and his weird little surrogate son, Spider-Man. And I believe that moment was so emotional, so impactful in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I would think it's strange if he did eventually end up being a Skrull, because I think that might invalidate the sincerity of that moment. Now, maybe the Skrull does really care about Tony Stark, and that's why he's there. I don't know. I am just saying, those 2 events from Avengers Endgame have maybe made me think he might not be a Skrull. However, I have compiled in this dossier 7 candidates that I think would make excellent Skrulls, people we should be watching out for. Should there be some sort of secret, coming into like a secret invasion. Should there be a secret invasion, I think these guys might be Skrulls. First up, a character who apparently is named John. We met John during the events of Shang-Chi. He was apparently involved in the Golden Dagger Club or Society or whatever it's called, and now, spoiler alert for Shang-Chi, works for the 10 Rings. We don't know very much about John, except for that he has allied himself with very powerful figures in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or, the universe, because why would you call it anything but the universe? It's the one we are in the world of the video. But more importantly than that, John would make an excellent Skrull because of his job. He seems to be the motorcycles. Just constantly. He seems to be the recruiter for the Golden Dagger Society. Now, he could easily bring people into the organization that he believes would be good fighters or important people that would be valuable, either by bringing them in to fight or to watch the fights, and then, at a specific moment where he is alone with them, swap them for a Skrull. It'd be an excellent time to bring in new Skrulls. And since it is an underground fighting ring, if someone, say, got switched out, and then we found out later that they were a Skrull, it may not even be public knowledge that they went to that fighting ring. They may have lied about it. So he has a level of deniability almost unique to him. There's one other character that I think has similar deniability, and we'll get to them later, but I do think John would make an excellent Skrull. Next up, we have a new member of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or, well, technically an old member of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I believe there's a good chance that Kingo is a Skrull. Now, we don't know a ton about Kingo. We don't know when he was born. We don't know how long he's existed on this planet. And we don't know if he is a Skrull when he was switched out for a Skrull. So he may very well have been normal, eternal Kingo up until a couple of years ago when he got swapped out for a Skrull. Here's the thing with Kingo. We've talked a lot about characters that would make good Skrulls because they have military or political connections or connections to the Avengers, but we haven't really talked about media figures. If the Skrull are planning to secretly invade, it would make sense for them to capture some media figures so that they can use propaganda to sell this secret invasion. So in case someone finds out about a Skrull, they can squash that story, turn that into something that doesn't go anywhere. And heck, maybe if the Skrull actually invade, Kingo can come out and say, hey everybody, the Skrulls are cool. We should all like them. I am famous and popular. So let's go with that. Now, Kingo has superpowers. We're not sure how much of the superpowers the Skrulls can duplicate, as you know, Director Fury, since you're hanging out with them on your weird little fake beach. But in the comics, the ones that, do happen to exist in this universe, it would appear that the Skrulls can copy some powers, not all. They can't, say, duplicate the strength of the Hulk, but they can duplicate the strength of Captain America. So I think it's possible that they could shoot energy blasts like Kingo does. I don't think that's unreasonable. But you may be saying, Director Fury, wait a second, Kingo can't be a Skrull, because the Eternals, while they have individual superpowers, also possess the power of the Unimind, which seems like it is a power that is exclusive to the Eternals and could not be duplicated by a Skrull. That would sound really good, except Kingo was not part of the Unimind, suspiciously absent. And in fact, even though other characters like Icarus, who didn't seem to want to be part of the Unimind, were eventually brought into it, we never saw what happened to Kingo. We don't know if he was part of a Unimind at all. Also important about Kingo, when he is reunited with the Eternals, decides to film a documentary about them for himself, I guess, where he interviews the Eternals, finds out what their deal is, what their powers are, what their personalities are like, which would be a valuable thing for a Skrull to have if he wanted to get a sense for this strange race of people that have existed on the planet for thousands and thousands of years, and the Skrulls, if they invade, will have to deal with, especially if the Skrulls have done this before and have interacted with other Eternals who we know exist on other planets. Next, number 3. Oh boy, am I excited for this. I think Sharon Carter's probably a Skrull. Here's the thing. We don't know what her deal is. She does seem to be working for someone, but who could she possibly be working for? And I do think large parts of her character have been unwritten or undecided on, so she could turn out to be a Skrull, or she could be working for whoever the next large big bad is. But Sharon Carter has not only built up underground connections in Madripoor, but she now has political connections, so she is the perfect person to be a Skrull. Also, and don't take this the wrong way, I don't think anybody would mind. I think we were all cool with her being a secret villain in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, being the power broker, so why not a Skrull? And hey, maybe part of what the Skrulls are doing is trying to duplicate the powers of certain Avengers. Maybe they have to do it scientifically. So it makes sense to have a character not necessarily doing the science, but organizing the science to recreate the super soldier serum. That could be valuable to the Skrulls. And hey, maybe some of the Skrulls are working together. We don't know what Skrulls are on a team, but Sharon Carter is connected to many other characters and could be connected to even more through her new government connection. So I think Sharon Carter as a hub for the Skrulls would make complete sense. Next up, I think this is an interesting one, although I have less information about it. Melina Vostakov, apparently is that person's name. Talking about the Iron Maiden, Black Widow's friend from the Black Widow movie. She has connections with the Russian government. I think part of what would make the Skrulls interesting is if they weren't just connected to the United States government, but all of these secret super soldier programs that exist throughout the world. There's a Skrull somewhere in them, and I definitely don't think Alexei is the Skrull, and they killed the other guy who was in charge, whose name I've already forgotten. So if there was another Skrull in the mix, she's a likely candidate. She's also a master of disguise, and also she seems to be working on some sort of mind control technology, some sort of method for controlling the minds of pigs' brains. That would be very useful for a Skrull. Also, we don't know a ton about her backstory. And also, we know from the comics that certain Skrulls have been transformed into other animals. So there are Skrull cows that exist in the Marvel Comics universe. Maybe what Melina's been up to with these pigs is there have been Skrulls that have been turned into pigs, and she is trying to unpig them. Listen, this doesn't make a ton of sense, but I do think that as a free agent in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, someone without a ton of past, and with a lot of connections, Melina makes total sense. Speaking of characters without a ton of past and connections, we we gotta talk about Val. I think there's a very good chance that Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, aka the Contessa, is a Skrull. She could not be a Skrull. There's a very good chance that she is just doing her own thing as some sort of evil-ish government agent attempting to put up some sort of Dark Avengers or Freedom Force or whatever. I've talked about it before in videos. However, if there was some sort of Skrull heading up the Skrull organization, recruiting superheroes to turn into Skrulls, what if that was the moment that John Walker was turned into a Skrull? What if he went in to put on his costume, was swapped out with the Skrull, and then boom, now we have a Skrull John Walker? Maybe her goal is to create an evil Avengers so that when the Skrulls show up, she can get rid of them, because she doesn't want an active Avengers. She doesn't want a Captain Marvel. She doesn't want a Captain America who's a good guy. She wants a kind of dumb, evilish, controllable Captain America. Also, in the comics, Val was a Skrull. We're not gonna, get too far into that, but that is something that happened in the comics. Also, everything I said about her pretty much applies to General Ross, although I doubt we'll see too much more of him. It seems like she's kind of absorbed that role. Next up, this is one that I have not heard very many people talk about, and I don't think they're certainly a Skrull or anything like that. They're definitely not the most likely candidate here, but I do think it's an interesting question to ask. Is J. Jonah Jameson a Skrull?
You serious?
Like we were saying about Kingo, having Skrulls in charge of the media would be a valuable part of their secret invasion. We have a character who hates superheroes for seemingly no reason. But J. Jonah Jameson isn't always after Spider-Man. It seems like it's something that might be new. In fact, it happened right after Spider-Man defeated Mysterio. After Spider-Man used his Peter Tingle or Spider Sense or whatever it is to see through a ruse, to sense danger around him. That does seem like the kind of superhero with that superpower. That would be the kind of guy that the Skrulls would want to get rid of immediately. Because potentially, Spider-Man should be able to sniff out Skrulls like that, because he can sense them with his spider sense. I'm not saying that I think J. Jonah Jameson is definitely a Skrull. However, I do think that he could be. We don't know a ton about this J. Jonah Jameson's backstory. He does have a seemingly irrational hatred of Spider-Man. I think it'd be funny too if after the secret invasion is thwarted, the characters who were taken and replaced with Skrulls have been safely contained in some sort of Skrull ship and they are freed. And Spider-Man, oh thank God, J. Jonah Jameson, the Skrull that was impersonating you was being very mean to me and hating me for no reason other than to fit the Skrull's agenda. And J. Jonah Jameson says, oh, I hate you too. I also don't like you. I think you're a menace. And they just keep going from there. It's like the Skrull and J. Jonah Jameson's interest kind of aligned. They were the same thing, but it's, purely a coincidence. I have one more Skrull for you. This one's good. This one's very dangerous. I think this character has connections to a lot of characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, some specific ones that very few other characters are connected to. This character's also been part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a very long time, seemingly still alive, and we don't know what she's been up to. So I think there's a very good chance that Ziff is a Skrull. Here's the thing with Ziff. And forgetting about the fact that she has a very easily duplicatable power, we don't know what she's been up to. We haven't really seen her since Thor: The Dark World. And she's really the only character that's connected with Thor that's an Asgardian, besides Thor and Loki, who's been around since the beginning, and I think would be an agent that the Skrulls would work into Asgard that could still be around today. Secret Invasion comic event started with Elektra being killed, and it turned out that she was a Skrull. That was how it all started. It was before anybody knew to even bother for Skrulls. They see this happen and they go, oh my god, what is this? A Skrull? How many of the rest of you guys are Skrulls? And that sets off this paranoia. It's all from this unrelated event, this death that sparks the Secret Invasion. And I think that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the universe we're in the universe of this video, a similar event will happen. During a movie or show completely disconnected from Secret Invasion, a character will die, and maybe in the post-credit scene, it will turn out that they are a Skrull, and everyone around will go, oh, this changes everything. I was trying to think of movies and television shows that are likely to come out before Secret Invasion. We don't know the release date for Secret Invasion, but probably sometime near the end of next year. And I doubt it's going to be Miss Marvel, and I doubt it's going to be Hawkeye, especially since most of those shows are going to be filled with new characters. So, like, who cares if this random character that we just met has been a Skrull the whole time? And I doubt that it's going to be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, although, hey, maybe there's a case to be made for Wong. No, Thor Love and Thunder, however, is going to come out next year, and that would be the perfect lead into Secret Invasion. Have all of the events of Thor Love and Thunder finish up. Maybe Ziff is in the infirmary, and right as you think she's about to recover, she flatlines, dies. And then her face turns green, she turns into a Skrull. Everyone around her says, what's going on? Thor says, I think we need to call Nick Fury. Maybe Nick Fury in that spaceship that he has shows up and says, Thor, we gotta talk. And that's the beginning of Secret Invasion. Listen, is War Machine a Skrull? Maybe. But these 7 guys, I think, would be 7 perfect Skrulls. Especially since, like I said, you could have the real Kingo, let's say, locked up in some chamber, and once the Secret Invasion's over, he could come back. We don't need to say goodbye to any of these characters. But these are characters we haven't seen too much of. We don't know what they've been doing for the last couple of years. And they all hold some sort of unique position in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that would make them an asset to the Skrull. Also, how about these glasses, huh? They're really fantastic. I'm very excited about them. But hey, that's just a theory. A
film theory and cut.
Like I said at the top, this video is sponsored by Sundance Now. Here's Sundance Now. It's an ad-free streaming service created by AMC Networks, people who appreciate riveting storytelling and fresh perspectives. It's got weekly releases and hundreds of exclusive shows from around the world that you won't find anywhere else. Here's 2 that I've been watching, 2 that I really enjoy. And they're by creators that I also just generally really enjoy. So immediately I went on this app, I was like looking through stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, he's got a show here? He's got a show here? Awesome. First one is called Back. It stars David Mitchell and Robert Webb, the Mitchell and Webb duo. It also has Matthew Holness, who you don't see too often. You may know him as Garth Marenghi from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Shows this very cool dark comedy about a son who has to take over for his dad when his dad dies, and then his foster brother comes in, and he's kind of a dork, and the foster brother's very assertive, but also probably lying about a bunch of stuff. It's real funny, real smart writing. Other show I'm really liking is a show called Upright. It stars and was created and written by Tim Minchin, who's a really funny, really excellent singer-songwriter who wrote all the songs for the Matilda musical and what I believe is one of the big, unappreciated Broadway gems from the last 10 years, the Groundhog Day musical. The show is also a dark comedy about a kind of screw-up who is trying to move his piano across Australia, happens to pick up this plucky kid, and it's really sweet and charming and also very funny. These are 2 great shows that you can watch right now on Sundance Now. You can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your TV, that's how I watch it. It's on Fire TV, Chromecast, Roku, all that stuff. And it's commercial free and available for only $5.99 a month. So start streaming your next obsession. Try Sundance Now free for 30 days by going to sundancenow.com and using the promo code NANDO, N-A-N-D-O. If you end up watching Upright or Back, let me know what you think.
As always, I gotta give a huge thank you to everyone who continues to support the channel on Patreon. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. Go listen to the podcast, Mostly Nitpicking, where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Follow me on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, where I talk about who I think are Skrulls. I've got lots of thoughts, and I'm sure I'll have more after the next Marvel series comes out. That's all I got. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.